Good evening. Homeowners and businesses are counting the cost tonight as the clean-up continues from our wild winter smashing.
The coast and the hills cop the worst of it. Intense rain, strong winds and widespread flooding, leaving a trail of damage.
The Broadway at Glenelg was smashed. Fortunately, the cafe escaped major damage this time.
Usually when that sort of situation happens, we are flooded and it comes right in, but luckily all the new work we've had done in the front managed to keep it out.
Huge waves slammed the Semaphore jetty, but the high tide didn't deter this father and son who went for a look. Nor did they stop this swimmer taking his early morning dip at the bay.
They're a bit rough, but not too rough, so I went out and got beaten up a bit, but I got beyond the surf and had a bit of a swim.
Even with wipers on high, navigating Port Road was like driving through a car wash. There was widespread flooding. Glenelg was hit hard. SES and MFS crews sandbagged doorways to keep the rising waters at bay. At Port Noarlunga, the Salt Fleet Street Bridge was closed to all traffic. This nearby playground turned into a lake. Local council workers called in, but it's expected to take them most of the day to drain it. SES volunteers were called out to 23 jobs overnight, making it more than 300 over the past 2 days.
Attending to flooding jobs, a lot of trees and a lot of damaged roofs and leaking roofs.
Fortunately, this massive tree at Crafers West clipped only a corner of the veranda.
It would have been a hell of a noise. When something like this comes down, it'll sound like thunder. It'll be like thunder coming down. 4 or 5 metres to the left and, no more veranda and no more corner of the house.
Peter Caldecott, 7 News.
Well, let's go live to Gertie Sperling now for the latest on this wild wintry blast.
And Gertie, the worst of it is now behind us.
It is, Will. We are expecting the winds to pick up again this evening, and while they might be a little bit gusty at times, they certainly won't pack the strength that they did last night. Showers are also still expected, but again, nothing too significant. But it's certainly been a very soggy start to winter. In the 24 hours till 9 a.m, the West Terrace gauge recorded 19 millimetres. 31 millimetres fell in Burnside. In the hills, Woodhouse picked up a whopping 82. Along the coast, there'll still be a bit of swell tomorrow, but conditions will ease over the weekend with a warming trend expected as well. For footy fans heading to the Crows and Cats clash, there is still the slight chance of a drizzle tomorrow evening, but it will certainly be cold. For the start of the match, it'll be just 12 degrees, but will feel more like 7. Will.
All right, thank you, Gertie. Police are tonight warning against vigilante justice, with one of the state's most notorious pedophiles set to walk from prison within hours.
After 25 years behind bars, disgraced magistrate Peter Liddy will be released tomorrow, but could soon walk straight into a multi-million-dollar lawsuit.
He's been locked up for 25 years.
With one of the harshest sentences we've seen in South Australia for this type of offending.
But Peter Liddy's time behind bars ends tomorrow. The now 83-year-old sexually abused 4 boys in the 1980s. He was their nippers coach and serving magistrate.
Used these positions of trust to commit this offending.
The Attorney General has applied to the Supreme Court to keep Liddy detained indefinitely. Medical reports are on the way.
And if they show he's unwilling and unable to control his sexual instincts, he will be locked up and never released until he can do that.
In the meantime, an interim supervision order has been granted so that when Liddy walks from prison tomorrow, his freedom will be limited.
Things like electronic monitoring, things like not being able to contact children, things like not having access to the internet.
Peter Liddy is the kind of person that should never see sunlight ever again.
Lawyer Andrew Carpenter spent years pursuing financial compensation for Liddy's victims. He fears he has millions of dollars in superannuation that he stashed away before going to prison. Mr. Carpenter has successfully fought for a federal law change to crack open that nest egg.
This law change means that his assets he has hidden for 25 years can finally be touched.
Exactly where Liddy will live is a closely guarded secret. The Attorney General's urging concerned South Australians to use the new child sex offender register that will display the 83-year-old's mugshot to anyone in the same area.
But the police commissioner's warning against vigilantes circulating that information.
I would just caution people to make sure they don't inadvertently release information that they're not entitled to and find themselves the subject of a police investigation.
Lauren Rose, 7 News.
7 News can reveal South Eastern Freeway users will be big winners in tomorrow's state budget.
Political reporter Michaela Kamarik joins us with the exclusive details. Now, Michaela, the freeway is in line for major safety upgrades.
Yeah, it is, Will. 7 News understands $90 million will be spent over the next 5 years improving safety along the freeway. The money will go towards replacing retaining walls and stabilising slopes on key sections of the freeway as growing Adelaide Hills communities put extra pressure on the route. The investment forms part of what is expected to be a practical, no-frills budget. After a Labor landslide victory in the March election, there is little political need for big new spending. Now, Treasurer Tom Koutsantonis will prioritise election commitments while navigating soaring state debt. Expect housing to feature heavily as the government tries to fix the crisis. There's also cost of living relief on the table for seniors.
A budget eve sweetener delivered by the Premier. The seniors card will be expanded to anyone over the age of 60, regardless of how many hours they work. It will come into effect from July 1, costing the budget $8.4 million.
It's a measure that comes at a cost to the budget, but we believe it's the right thing to do.
With debt soaring towards $50 billion, the Treasurer will rein in spending with a public sector hiring freeze. 1,000 non-frontline positions will be left unfilled over the next 12 months, saving $120 million.
There's still over 100,000 positions in the public sector, and the public sector will still grow. It won't impact frontline services.
The Greens would rather see South Australia go into debt than seeing cuts to essential services.
Over the last 5 years, the public sector has grown twice the rate of all other sectors.
The opposition keeping a close eye on state debt, launching a dedicated website showing interest repayments are now costing taxpayers $5 million a day.
That is an absolutely eye-watering number.
The government says debt is funding major infrastructure projects, including the North-South Corridor and the new Women's and Children's Hospital.
We need to deliver these projects for the long-term growth of our economy.
Just how much those projects have blown out in cost will be revealed at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Michaela Kamarik, 7 News.